In studio, NBC Tonight.
Live, local, late breaking. This is WBAL TV 11 News tonight at 11.
The remnants of Ida ripped through Maryland with a vengeance.
The storm spawned tornadoes, destroyed buildings, and ripped apart homes. Take a look at the damage on West Street in Annapolis. Video from Sky Team 11 shows roofs were torn off businesses and homes.
South River High School in Edgewater sustained significant damage. Take a look at this. The high winds tore through the school and also wrecked the football field.
Several children even had to be rescued from a bus in Frederick County after it got stuck in rising floodwaters.
We have team coverage tonight on the storm, the impact, and the recovery efforts now underway. Right now, we want to go to 11 News reporter Trey Ward live in Annapolis, where a tornado touched down on West Street. Look at what's behind you, Trey.
Yeah, tell me about it. Right now we're on Drew Street, not too far from West Street, where you can see just how that tornado tore down this tree here, ripping it from its roots and taking down some of the power lines here. Of course, as you can imagine, the street is closed off to traffic like several roads in this area. We're told that that storm came by quickly, leaving behind a lot of damage that's going to take a lot of time to clean up.
It all happened a lot faster than I thought it would. I remember getting the alert on the phone. And then we came down to the base of the first level, looked outside, it was raining, it stopped, it got super calm. And then the next thing you know, it was just things just floating around in the air. And I was trying to get a shot, but I was like, it's time to go to the basement.
Yeah, that's some good thinking there. Now, according to the National Weather Service, the tornado touched down just after 2 this afternoon and ripped down power lines, tore through roofs, and left about 3,500 families in the dark after the storm knocked out power in multiple areas in the city. Now, most of the damage, we're told, is near and along West Street in Annapolis. 11 News spoke with County Executive Stuart Pittman as he was assessing the damage. He says his team was preparing for the worst.
We were getting regular alerts. We were on a partial activation of our Office of Emergency Management, and we were waiting, hoping, and it was near the end. I think I was in an interview before either of these hit down with fingers crossed, and I think right at about that moment is when it happened. It's so quick, and nobody knows exactly where it's going to happen.
Now, cleanup crews will remain out here through the early morning hours, and thankfully, no one was hurt. We're live in Annapolis. I'm Trey Ward, WBAL TV 11 News.
Trey, thank you. Here's another look at the tornado from someone who was driving in Annapolis as the destruction was happening. In these situations, obviously, you want to get to a safe location as quickly as you can, if you can, but it's difficult when you're stuck driving in traffic with a tornado.
Also in Annapolis, Deb, take a look at Forest Drive near Domino Road. You can see a lot of knocked down trees and power lines in the street.
Yeah, it's incredible. The storms also caused lots of damage in Edgewater.
Yeah, you can see the football stadium at South River High School took a hard hit from all the toppled trees to a roughed up press box and stands. 11 News reporter Kai Reed is in Edgewater tonight. Hey, Kai.
Yeah, you guys, I have a very big update from what we reported an hour ago at 10 o'clock. The lights just came back on here at South River High School. We just saw the lights pop on in those windows inside the building. I was told that would be a huge step in the cleanup process and determining if students would be able to start school here next week. The storm that slammed into the South River High School property in Edgewater was strong enough to topple trees, rip the roof off the football stadium concession stand, and send debris flying everywhere. But the scariest moments happened inside 2 of the 3 buildings on campus, where teachers and other staff members were working in the main South River High School building, and students and staff were doing an orientation inside the Center of Applied Technology South. 1 week from now, the entire campus would have been full of students.
And so fewer people to move to places that we needed them to move to, and these schools did it in an expert fashion. The most important thing, nobody hurt. Everybody did exactly what they were supposed to do. We train on these drills all the time, and that training paid off today.
Besides the football field with extensive damage, toppled trees, and the smashed-in concession stand, the Center of Applied Technology South got the worst of it, with blown-out windows and ceiling damage. While school is scheduled to start next week, engineers won't know if that's possible until power power is restored and they can assess the extent of the damage. The first football game is scheduled to take place here on Friday.
You know, their first home game and with a full stadium of fans in a couple of years, and so we'll see whether that's still going to happen. But one thing I know about this community here in Edgewater is that it's very resilient and very tight-knit, and we'll band together with them and we'll have that football game. It may not be Friday, but we'll have it.
And so that building that sustained most of the damage is just over my left shoulder here. We have not even had time to walk down there to see if the power is back on there. I'm assuming it probably is, so that is very good news. Bob Mosier, the communications director, said that the principals between those two buildings were just absolutely great today when the storm moved in, communicating between each other to determine when it would be safe for students from the one building to come over to the other. Also, he told me tonight about that game. He said that that will take place on Friday. He said at this point they're just trying to determine where they can find another field for the teams to play on. Reporting live in Edgewater tonight, Kai Reed, WBAL TV 11 News.
Kai, thank you very much for that live report with some restored lights there. And as the storm moved through parts of Baltimore, it brought flooding with it. Take a look at this. The Fells Point section of the city is prone to seeing flash flooding when it gets hit really hard with rain. And while some cars were stuck in a parking lot, our crews did not see any widespread damage there.
Flooding a major problem throughout the state today. One person is dead, another unaccounted for after the heavy rains flooded an apartment complex in Rockville.
And then later there was a water rescue to save multiple children and a bus driver. 11 News anchor Ashley Hinson is covering the latest details in the newsroom for us. Hey, Ashley.
Hey, Andre, I want to start with the apartment complex. The Montgomery County Fire Chief said the water had almost reached the ceiling when crews arrived there. Police said they received multiple calls shortly before 4 this morning for flooding on terrace-level apartments of the Rock Creek Woods apartment complex. That's on Twin Brook Parkway in Rockville. Authorities say water came rushing through the doors. 50 apartments were impacted. 12 units were flooded. Crews did find the body of a 19-year-old man there. 3 people and a firefighter were taken to the hospital. They are expected to be okay. And then later in the day in Frederick County, several children and a bus driver were rescued after this bus got stuck in high water. It happened in the Thurmont area at Hessong Bridge Road at Blacks Mill Road. You can see the bus just tipped over there, stuck in the high water. It almost looks like a river. It was so flooded. 10 middle and high school students were removed safely from that bus. Everyone on the bus was taken to Thurmont Elementary School, and the good news, rescue crews say everyone appears to be okay tonight. Frederick County Public Schools will open 2 hours late tomorrow morning. In the studio, Ashley Hinson, WBAL TV 11 News.
Ashley, thank you. Emergency crews also rescued dozens of students from a school bus that got stuck in floodwaters. This is near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania this afternoon. You can see photos of crews wading through knee-deep water with a rescue raft to get students off a bus there. All 41 passengers aboard the bus were rescued by boats, all taken to a safe area, and no injuries reported.
Great to hear that. And as the storms left Maryland, they moved northeast, hitting Philadelphia and New Jersey hard. Here's a tornado captured by Chris Zeiner. Could you imagine sitting in your car shooting this? Several tornadoes are believed to have jumped all around Jersey. And the damage is extensive. Look at this. Severe weather ripped apart several houses and tossed around a bunch of debris in the last hour. New Jersey's Governor Phil Murphy declared a state of emergency to coordinate resources in order to help the Garden State recover from the storm that wreaked havoc. All right, the storm took a few hours to pass over Maryland, but it will take months to bounce back from all the destruction.
And tonight, many are wondering, is more on the way? Meteorologist Tony Pan joins us now. And Tony, you worked so hard for hours this afternoon. I'm assuming that we are out of the woods right now.
Yeah, it's good. We got a great stretch of weather coming up here the next couple of days, but as you might imagine, after 2 to up to 7 inches of rain, there's a number of flood warnings that are still in effect. All the counties shaded in green there are still under a warning. Coastal flood warnings along the Chesapeake Bay, Frederick, Carroll, Baltimore, Hartford County, Cecil County still under flood warnings. And in addition to that, the winds are going to be gusting close to 40 miles per hour tonight behind the storm, and the ground is saturated, so there still could be some tree issues. If you got big, tall trees in your neighborhood and you had 5-6 inches of rain, just keep that in mind overnight tonight. But we do expect some beautiful weather tomorrow. When you wake up tomorrow morning, it's going to be in the 50s and 60s with no humidity, sunshine in the afternoon, with a high temperature only in the upper 70s. And you'll like the 7-day forecast as well.
Thank you for that 7-day, and thank you for all your hard work today. And tonight, the push to restore power and provide food and water for hundreds of thousands of people continues across southeast Louisiana.
Hurricane Ida washed out or swept away entire communities. Jay Gray has been in New Orleans since the storm hit with a look at the mounting struggles getting worse by the day.
3 days later, it's still hard to comprehend what's happened in southeast Louisiana.
And it's really chaotic out here now.
The key to survival across the strike zone is getting online. Not the internet, there's no power. But lines for gas and groceries that stretch in some places for miles.
I've been here 3 hours. 3 hours. Everyone okay? Y'all doing all right out here?
The few grocery stores that are open are running out of supplies fast.
It'll probably be all gone before noon. That's my bet. Everybody's buying ice. So it's crazy.
Food right now is a day-to-day struggle.
You can only buy enough food that you can cook for today, and luckily I have a gas stove so I can cook.
The other lines of consequence here are these. Mangled power cables pulled to the ground. Hundreds of thousands in Louisiana still don't have electricity.
It's a Herculean effort that they have to put forth to tie this loop in. Think about it. 9 parishes, 0 power. And they have to do it in a certain way, and there's no other way that they can do it.
The wind and rain is gone, but thousands are still evacuating. These Xavier students headed to Dallas and others just looking for any place with power.
We're leaving today because there's no knowing when the energy, the lights are going to come back on.
Just one of so many things that are uncertain after Ida. And a little backstory on this particular house. The owner had just finished refurbishing it, was just moving in when Ida hit. Jay Gray, NBC News, New Orleans.
What a devastation and destruction to our south. Back here at home, speaking of destruction, right now, Baltimore County firefighters are busy battling this magnesium fire in Dundalk. The fire's on Grays Road, where there are several industrial businesses, and it takes special tactics to put out a magnesium fire because it's highly flammable. And firefighters have to be very careful because the flames burn extremely hot and can spread quickly. Crews from the BWI Fire Rescue are on the scene, helping to put out the large pile of magnesium that is burning right now.
Just a busy day everywhere, right?
Yes, indeed.
Well, with the Delta variant driving a surge, private and public employers continue to announce new vaccine rules for employees.
Yeah, Baltimore City rolled out a new COVID-19 vaccine rule this week. Anne Arundel County's policy announced last month just got a big new incentive added today.
11 News lead political reporter Kate Amara tonight with more on the push to immunize workers.
The steps that we take today to slow the spread of COVID-19 and the Delta variant could not be more important.
One day after mandating full vaccination against the coronavirus for all Baltimore City workers by October 18th, Mayor Brandon Scott and city officials went public to explain why they're pushing the city's workforce to get the shot.
Now that even fully vaccinated individuals who contract COVID-19 can spread the virus as easily as unvaccinated individuals, it remains vital.
And it means that we need to take all of the possible precautions that we can take. I think what we're doing right now is a good first step.
It is not an ultimatum. The city's new vaccination policy includes an option for weekly testing instead. And it allows for medical and religious exemptions from the shot and from the testing requirement.
We're constantly analyzing where we are, and decisions on whether we go further, whether we stay the same. I'll make those decisions based on the data, and that's the decision that will be left up to me.
This comes on the same day as a new vaccine mandate for thousands of state workers kicks in. Announced by Governor Larry Hogan early last month, employees in specific sectors, including nursing homes, must show proof of vaccination or undergo regular, rigorous testing. And as of today, Anne Arundel County employees have a new incentive to get the shot before their own vax mandate kicks in. The county executive announcing a one-time $1,000 payment to county workers if they get vaccinated for COVID-19 by the end of November. I'm Kate Amara, WBAL TV 11 News.
At this point, Anne Arundel and Baltimore City are the only two jurisdictions in the Baltimore metro area with a vaccine rule for its workers.
All right, city leaders are getting heated after Governor Larry Hogan said they need to cool off their students from sweltering heat.
Coming up, the battle hitting a boiling point when it comes to air conditioning in schools.
Plus, more Maryland kids are being hospitalized with COVID as health experts worry the problem could soon get worse.
It's the Summer of Performance event at Acura Hunt Valley. Imagine